Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I want you to start by picturing something for a second. You wake up and it's just a perfectly ordinary morning. You know the kind. The sun is shining brightly through your window, birds are singing outside, you can hear that faint, familiar hum of traffic moving through busy streets. Millions of people are just starting their day, drinking their morning coffee, commuting, living their lives. And then, without absolutely any warning at all, something completely impossible happens. Every single oxygen molecule on Earth simply disappears. It just vanishes. In literally less than a second, the fundamental chemistry of our entire planet is rewritten.
It's a massive, truly terrifying thought experiment, right? Which brings us to a really huge question. Could humanity actually survive 5 minutes without oxygen? I mean, we go about our days completely taking this invisible gas for granted. But what exactly happens when it gets stripped away in a single heartbeat? Well, today, we're going to break down the cascading failures that would happen across our biology, our infrastructure, and honestly, our entire planet, if we had to go just 300 seconds without it.
Section 1. The impossible disappearance. Okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this catastrophe, we have to look at what's actually going missing. Oxygen makes up about 21% of Earth's atmosphere. Now, while the other 79%, which is mostly nitrogen, remains perfectly intact, that 21% is absolutely essential for almost all complex life. In those opening seconds, honestly, nobody would even understand what was happening, but survival is about to become nearly impossible.
Section 2. Life gasping for air.
Within literal seconds, every single person and animal on the planet starts struggling to breathe. People would instinctively try to take another breath, right? Your diaphragm contracts, your lungs expand, but no oxygen enters your bloodstream. Panic spreads instantly across every single city on Earth like wildfire. Hospitals are immediately overwhelmed. But the terrifying part is, doctors are completely helpless. Even the backup oxygen tanks and emergency ventilators, they rely on ambient oxygen to function properly. So medical science instantly hits a brick wall.
And hey, this isn't just a human crisis. Because flying requires enormous, intense amounts of oxygen for metabolism, birds would literally fall from the sky mid-flight. Wild animals, all the way from the absolute smallest insects to the largest mammals, just collapse right where they stand. And if you're thinking, oh, I'll just jump in the water, well, that won't save you either. The dissolved oxygen that fish extract from the water completely disappears, suffocating marine ecosystems from the surface all the way down to the deepest ocean trenches.
Section 3. Machines and infrastructure crumble. Now, what's really interesting here is that biology is just the beginning. Chemistry is about to fail us too.
Fire and combustion simply cannot exist without oxygen. It's, half the chemical equation. So airplane engines, which are pulling in these massive amounts of oxygen for combustion, lose power simultaneously. Thousands of 400-ton commercial jets instantly become heavy gliders. And down on the ground, the internal combustion engine is utterly useless. Cars, trains, ships, and emergency vehicles simply freeze in place. The entire global transportation network comes to an immediate, grinding halt. Think about the insane sensory contrast for a second. At minute 0, you have a noisy, brightly lit, functioning society. But by minute 5, complete, eerie silence. Every single fire on Earth instantly goes out. Forest fires, candles, industrial furnaces, all completely extinguished. And because power stations that burn coal, oil, or natural gas stop generating energy, huge portions of the world experience massive, instantaneous blackouts. The only electricity still flowing would come from non-combustion sources, things like hydroelectric dams and nuclear power plants.
But here is where things get truly apocalyptic. Concrete actually depends on oxygen-containing compounds to maintain its rigid structure. It's not just a gas we breathe, it's a physical, literal building block. Without these compounds, concrete dramatically weakens. Famous landmarks, towering skyscrapers, and massive bridges literally crumble into dust. The very infrastructure holding up our silent, dark cities would just fall apart right beneath our feet.
Section 4. Earth's shield vanishes.
Pulling back from the city streets for a second, let's look at the macro, the planetary level. Because one of the most surprising consequences happens high above our heads. Earth's ozone layer is actually made entirely of oxygen molecules. Without oxygen, this invisible protective shield vanishes instantly. And that allows highly dangerous, totally unfiltered ultraviolet radiation from the sun to just scorch the planet's surface. Anything exposed to direct sunlight would immediately begin to suffer severe radiation damage.
And the tragedy just compounds when we look at the very things that are supposed to make our oxygen, plants. Photosynthesis completely stops. Actually, scratch that. It's worse than just stopping. Stripped of the oxygen they need for their own baseline cellular respiration and bombarded by that unfiltered UV radiation we just talked about, plant life just fries. Entire terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems would rapidly collapse in a matter of minutes.
Section 5. The invisible foundation returns.
So, the clock is ticking down. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. Lungs are burning. Planes are falling from the sky. Buildings are actively crumbling. And then, at the exact 5-minute mark, oxygen just floods back into the atmosphere. Those who somehow manage to survive take a deep, desperate gasp of air. But day 1 is going to be a dystopian nightmare. Transportation is totally broken, infrastructure is ruined, and wildlife is absolutely devastated. For decades to follow, scientists would frantically investigate the mystery, totally terrified of a repeat.
Okay, let's all take a breath, a real one, because I want to give you a quick grounding reality check here.
Fortunately for all of us, this scenario belongs strictly to the world of imagination. Our atmosphere is an enormously robust and stable system. It's maintained by these deeply entrenched natural processes that have operated perfectly for billions of years. No oxygen is just magically vanishing today.
The whole reason we do this thought experiment is because it perfectly illustrates our total dependence on Earth's delicate, interconnected balance. Every single breath you just took is made possible by the seamless teamwork of plants, oceans, microorganisms, and the atmosphere. We rarely ever notice it, but we are tethered to this incredible biological machinery every single second of our lives.
So I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. Oxygen is not just another gas. It is the invisible foundation of life itself. When you really grasp the sheer volume of things that rely on it, from your beating heart to the structural integrity of the concrete beneath your feet, all the way up to the ozone shield protecting us from space, you realize just how miraculous our environment truly is.
I want you to genuinely think about this today. If the impossible actually happened, and Earth lost its oxygen for just 5 minutes, with the crumbling cities, the downed plains, the massive loss of wildlife, could humanity actually recover and rebuild from that? Or would the sudden destruction of our invisible foundation mean the definitive end of civilization?